Welcome back to Coach 'em Up with Bradley County Sports. I'm your host, RC Talent, and this podcast highlights athletes, coaches, and former players from around Bradley County, sharing their stories and experiences. Before we bring on our guest today, though, I want to give a huge shout out to our partners who make this show possible. First, we'll start with GP Athletes. It's the original gym in Bradley County and your go-to training and workout for athletes of all ages. My son does it. They do a phenomenal job. If you want to take your little one or anyone to any kind of training sessions, they do a great job over there. So go check out GP Athletes at Southside Fitness. Also, Southside Fitness, the #1 gym in Bradley County for all your fitness needs. Go see Anthony and those guys over there. They're fantastic. And also ESPN 101.3 Cleveland, your go-to station for local and national sports stories. Be sure to check out their social media pages and give them a follow. So, all right, so let's get to it. Today, we're excited to welcome Brittany Jackson Tucker to the show. Brittany is a Bradley County legend and a Bradley Central standout and a University of Tennessee basketball star who played in four Final Fours and 2 national championship games. Brittany, welcome to Coach 'em Up, and we're glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. That's a little much about a legend. And hey, I know that next question everybody has is like, she played in 2 championships, but guess what? I got 0. So sounds good, right?
Cigar, right? So that's still a pretty cool experience. And I know you talk about that a lot, but really with this show, I know you get a ton of questions about your playing days at the University of Tennessee and Pat Summit, and we're going to hit on those for sure. But really, we're about Bradley County. This is where you're from, and this is home for you, and really want to get that backstory about Brittany Jackson and kind of her story kind of following up to those big moments at the University of Tennessee. But first, I want to talk about this Substack thing that you're doing. Can you like when I first looked at that, I had no idea what that was. Can you explain a little bit to us about what that is?
So it's funny. So is it RC? You want me to call you RC or Ricky?
RC's fine. That's perfect.
RC. Okay. We're on nickname terms now. So no, I actually, and it's funny because I'm like, as soon as we get off of here, I need to talk to you because I've been starting a podcast for about 5 years now. Okay. But life gets to life and it just, I'm about to start it. And so, I've been working with a guy that we started writing a book. It was about 13 years ago before I had kids, actually. Aiden's 10. And then we just life and I moved and mom got sick. I had kids. And he came to me about 6 months ago because we've always kept in touch. And I'm like, I'm ready to finish this book. And he said, what about us? We need to do a Substack. And I said, what's that? And he told me, I was like, because I'm about to launch this podcast. And he said, let's launch with the Substack first. And I was like, what is that? And it is amazing. I love the platform. It's a platform basically just to, I'm right now hard head first into Lady Vol basketball. So, but you can make it what you want. I mean, it's like, I pictured it as like, I've subscribed to tons of things. I get newsletters and so he was like, I'm subscribed to several of like New York Knicks. He's from New York. So like New York Knicks. And I get like, these different things. And I said, let's try it. And I love it. I'm obsessed with Substack now. And I didn't know what it was 6 months ago. So it's kind of like been the launch. I kind of wanted to tease people because what I'm going into is, I feel like it's a little controversial, right? It's hard. People don't want to say the hard things, in life and with Lady Vol program and where we are, like, I feel like I'm an extension of Pat Summit and we have to speak up and talk about it and just where sports are in general. So I've been able to do that. And when I did it, I've had great feedback. I love it. And I'm so excited to start my podcast, but I'm going to be calling you to get some pointers because you've got it going on.
Well, you know what? It's crazy. So, I used to coach high school football. I did it for several years at Silverdale Bradley and some other places, but I'm from here. So I got the opportunity to teach at Lake Forest Middle School. And so I had to step away from coaching at Bradley. But one of the cool opportunities that arose over, last year was I talked to Gary Ownby. He's like, man, we talked about, you want to join ESPN? You want to call the games on Friday night. I'm like, heck yeah, like that would be my way to stay involved and kind of do all that stuff. So, and then I love that. And then I just started thinking, man, there's really nothing around here to where we talk about Bradley County sports, because we have over 15,000 athletes here in this county. And, there's and podcasting, there's really nothing like that. And I love to talk sports. So I'm like, hey, we'll just give it a shot. So, we just started probably a month and a half ago, and it's been phenomenal. It's been absolutely awesome. So, but that's really cool to see what you're doing with Substack. And absolutely, I'll help you with whatever questions you have when it comes to this cool stuff right here.
I love what you're doing. I mean, when you sent me a message, I mean, I was like, that's, like you said, I get asked all the time about Tennessee, Lady Vols, WNBA, when I played but guess where it started? Bradley County,
right.
And so I think it shocks me nobody's done anything, but I think what you're doing is awesome. And it's, the whole county, there's greatness that has came out of here.
Absolutely.
And so I really thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. It's been super fun. So, one of the things I wanted to hit on for you, like we talked about earlier, is kind of the roots of all this, the roots of Brittany Jackson, right? And, I kind of want to know, like, what was it like growing up and playing sports here in this county for people who know much about Bradley County?
Yeah. So, I wasn't given much of a chance. I mean, much of an option. So, when you got a mom that is in the Hall of Fame for basketball, your dad is Hall of Fame for wrestling. And they probably would never tell anybody because they're the most humble two people. I was in a gym at the age of 2 and 3 years old. And so my aunt, who is like a second mother to me, Rita Hanna, she ran the community center for over 50 years. So that's where I grew up. And I was handed a ball and was like, here you go, And so I was dribbling at 3 years old, started playing basketball at 4.
Yeah.
And at the community center. So, I give so much credit to my parents because, they just the guidance that they gave me. And, they're the reason. I mean, I got into sports at such a young age and, sports are so great. So great.
Yeah. So, I think for me, I've always loved football ever since I was little, but there was a certain age in my life where I was like, man, this is my passion, right? This is what I love to do. And yeah, I mean, I was throwing footballs, 3, 4, 5 years old, but I think it really hit me around that middle school mark. Like, man, this is my passion right here in this sport. When did it become like in your mind, like, hey, I love this. This is exactly what I want to do with my life.
So it's funny, I actually had an interview earlier today with a podcast in Atlanta, and I get that. That's probably the most common question I get asked, and I love it because, especially with my basketball academy, I get to talk to kids and mentor these kids. And, I was at Northley Elementary, and it was K through 6th.
Yeah.
Then I had junior high. So see, I'm telling my age, I'm old. So I was at Bradley Junior for 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then I was at Bradley High School, 10th, 11th, 12th. So I always played up, when I was at Northley, I played, when I was in 6th grade, I played it at Bradley Junior on the 7th and 8th grade. But, RC, it never really hit me. And I think that does go to I really credit my parents like so much. They're so humble and taught me to be humble. Like I never really realized like, man, I can do something with this, right? I loved playing sports. I played softball. I played volleyball. I mean, it was nonstop. My parents worked 2 jobs to be able to just travel and play all these sports. But I think that it was not probably till my 10th grade year that I realized like, okay, I'm kind of good and can probably do something, like go somewhere and make a career of this and get my school paid for. Whenever those college coaches, I started getting some letters and, college coaches started coming to, because I even think back into middle school, I always played up, but so did a couple other of my teammates. And, I knew I was decent, but I really didn't realize like I can go somewhere with this if I really want to do that until high school.
Yeah.
And when those college coaches started sending letters and coming and watching, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I can go get my school paid for, and I want to get paid to do this. I've been doing this all my life. I can get paid, So yeah, it was about high school. I'd say my 9th, 10th grade year.
That's awesome. You talked about your Aunt Rita and of course your mom, Miss Jackson, and then Coach Jackson. they have been so involved, all of them, with Bradley Central High School and your entire family since I'm sure probably that you can remember, right? So what did playing, in Bradley County athletics, Bradley Central athletics, mean to you at a young age? I mean, because I know, when you're in middle school or you're in elementary school, like especially for young football players, like, hey, they want to go on Friday nights and watch Bradley, and I'm sure. So at what age were you like, man, I know my parents are working there, but I really want to put on that uniform?
Oh yeah, just growing up and being in that gym and, seeing my mom and my aunt's jersey up there, I mean, 25, and I was like, I can't wait to get there and wear 25. And, I'd heard all the stories and Jim Smitty and
Sure.
just the tradition, the Barrett tradition that, I mean, I grew up going to Barrett basketball camp. So somewhat like it was a dream and to play for Pat Summit because I'd watched her, I mean, she was like a legend. I'm watching the Lady Vols my whole life. I watched the Barretts, and so I'd heard the stories and like I said, looking up in the rafters and seeing your mom and your aunt's jersey and what your dad had done, I know dad's not from, didn't go to Bradley, but when I tell you there's nobody that bleeds black and gold more than my dad, Turner Jackson, it's, that's the truth. And it's everything to him. And so it was, it's neat. It's like you just grow up and can't wait to do that. And so it was exciting to be able to finally get there and get to wear number 25. And then, after me, get to give it to my sister to wear 25. And it just, it means a lot. It's where we started. I mean, I talk about it all the time. That's why I love being able to have my basketball camp and charity event. And I bring these athletes and celebrities from all over to come in and to Bradley High School because it's, it's home.
I'm a diehard Steeler fan. I'm not kidding you. When you had Will Allen come one time,
Really? That is awesome. So he's an awesome guy.
Yeah,
really awesome guy.
Go Tigers.
Oh, hush.
I was going to bring
We don't.
Al, man, and like have this dude sign it. And I'm like, dude, I can't be a fanboy at this thing. So I didn't go, but that
Oh
is,
man. Yeah. Now, okay. So Will Allen is because of who he played
yeah,
for? Okay. Okay. Oh, that's right. I saw it. Your Steelers. I got you. Oh yeah. I mean, he is so I met him, he does his charity stuff and he is, I mean, just top notch guy. Yeah. He would have signed anything and everything. Yeah. I can get that to happen. I'll get that for you. I promise.
And I'll tell you, I've got all kinds of stuff in this room right now, but
yeah.
You talk, again, a lot of people outside of the Bradley County bubble know you as Brittany Jackson, Lady Vol star, Pat Summit, WNBA, all those things. But here at home, we know Liz Jackson, we know Turner Jackson, we know Rita Hanna and everybody. Did you ever feel any pressure while playing, trying to, carry that legacy for and I'm sure it was easy for you because you were a baller, but did you ever feel any pressure at all having to, live up to kind of what they've done here?
First off, I want to thank you for even like when you sent me kind of just some of the topics and talking points, like my family is everything to me and my mother and my father and Rita, who now is just a mother to me. Thank you for because they do mean so much to this community and are so well respected. And I'm so grateful I have an amazing family. I'm so blessed. So I appreciate just you even bringing it up and wanting to talk about it. But, when I say pressure, gosh, you ask my sister, she would probably say yes. I never felt a lot of pressure, but that was because of, if you know Rita and if you know my mom and if you know my dad, it's just, they're so humble and I never felt pressure. I really didn't. I had my own lane. They encouraged and supported me in my own lane as well as my sister. Lindsay never had that drive for basketball like I did. And that's fine, and so they supported her on her journey. She went to Tennessee Wesleyan. She played basketball at a different level, but, I didn't ever really feel pressure. I felt honored.
Yeah. That's awesome. Did you ever think that, and I know high school to SEC top program in the country, do you ever feel like any of those things you experienced at Bradley helped prepare you for the University of Tennessee?
Listen, I tell people all the time, I'm like, everybody can't say this, but I was very well prepared for Pat Summit. Well, as prepared as you can get for Pat Summit.
Sure.
I go back to my AAU days. I mean, I played for the Tennessee Stars, and my coach, Coach Carson, I mean, he was hard nosed. He was like the Pat Summit of the AAU. People thought, oh my gosh, how do you play for him? Then, at Bradley, I had Coach Cretton one year, but then I had Coach Harlow, and I was blessed to play for some great coaches and really hard nosed coaches. And
Yeah.
so get in your face. I mean, so I was as prepared as I could get. So there's no question that Bradley High School and my coaches prepared me. And like I said, I have to give them credit to like my AAU coaches and even like Coach Miller, Ginger in middle school. Like I was blessed, I was blessed to play for some good coaches and disciplined coaches that prepared me for her.
Sure. That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. I kind of want to transition here from Bradley to your family for a minute. And, we all know the battle that your mom went through. And of course, whenever your mom is going through that, that's just not your mom going through it. That's you going through it, that's your dad going through it, and your entire family having to deal with that situation. Your mom was such a huge part of the Bradley County community for sure. And your journey. And so what did she mean to you as a mother, a mentor, and I'm sure a coach as well?
And I'm going to try to not get upset. So apologize if I do. But especially now having a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old, having kids of my own, it is really, I mean, I reflect in this every day of my mom was my superhero. I mean, like I think I look back and I'm like, I remember I was like, gosh, Mom, you can't just watch a game and just don't say anything. I wouldn't ride home with her after the games. I'd ride home with Dad. Okay. And now I get it because I can't sit at a basketball gym and watch a game, and especially my son, and keep my mouth shut.
Sure.
I'm like, you just want to coach. And that's just, I see myself in her. I see her in myself so much. And, my mom and dad, I, I talk about it in podcasts and interviews weekly. I know everybody's not so blessed as I am, but my two parents, the support that they gave me and the guidance that they gave me, looking back, I didn't get it then. Just like when you pay for Pat, you don't get it, right? You're like, what in the world is this lady doing? Why? Now you appreciate it. And I'm just so blessed to be able to the parents that God gave me, because my mom, listen, I am my mom, she wouldn't touch a ball forever. And we would go to the gym and we'd play horse. She wouldn't miss a shot.
Yeah. She'd smoke you.
But I'm going to tell you who's right there second. And people don't ever give him credit. My dad can shoot the ball.
Is that right?
Oh, listen, my dad can shoot the ball.
I have never seen your mother or your father shoot a basketball ever since I've been a part of the Bradley Central community. I've never seen them. That's
really okay. No, Mom, we'd go on Sundays. We'd go to the gym, even when I'd come back from college and stuff. And I brought some of my teammates back one time, and we go to the gym. She hadn't touched a ball, and we go in there, that shot from the hip. And just, she didn't miss. But dad can shoot it. And, he tells you, like, he became a wrestler because he got cut from basketball. He wasn't good enough to play basketball, but he can shoot the ball. Like, like I said, I couldn't have been any more blessed of like just the support and the knowledge and, the times that they had me in the gym on Sunday and I didn't want to go and I didn't understand that it was going to pay off.
Yeah.
And working 2 jobs. My dad ran the community center. My mom was there with Rita working because, we know teachers, right? Like that's when I went to college, Pat said, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't want to teach because they're underpaid and underappreciated, because I'd seen how much and what my parents do, And so, my mom, we miss her so much, and it's so cool to see the community, how much she meant to the community. It's really cool.
Yeah. we miss her for sure. Do you ever find yourself like doing things and you're like, man, I know you mentioned it earlier, but I'm turning into my mother every single day. Like
Oh,
everything that you do that you're like, man, that's my mom. Like what kind of lessons are you learning like about yourself that you see a lot in yourself about your mother? I mean, I'm sure it's daily, right?
oh, it is daily. Raising children and having them of my own. I mean, I know I say it weekly, close to daily of like, that's what mom was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I get it now. That is what she was talking about. And so, and I just see so much of her in me. And that is why, it's just, I feel like, especially because I mean, when you look at pictures, like, so my sister looks a little bit more like my dad. I look just like my mom. And so, I mean, people have called me Liz, like, and it just, I am finally, grief is hard and we all deal with it, but I'm finally at the point to where it makes me smile and I don't all the time cry whenever somebody says, God, you look just like you are, that is Liz,
Yeah.
And so, it's exciting. It's exciting to hear that, and it makes me feel good. And it's just miss her a lot.
Well, she lives through your eyes, right? She
Thank
sees the
you.
things that you do, and that was one thing that I was told whenever a close family member of mine passed away is like they're not dead. They live through your eyes, right?
Yeah.
And those are tough moments in life, but it happens to every one of us. We're all going to experience
Yes.
death one day, and so what have you done, and kind of like how do you carry your mom's legacy forward? I know that whenever that situation happened, we all do this. We're like, she's going to be remembered forever. I'm going to carry her legacy. How do you do that going forward?
Yeah, so when I started my basketball academy in 2012, and Pat had just announced that she was sick. And so, it's when I started, I go to all my friends' charity events that they do. And I said, I want to do something here in my community. And so I'd always done a basketball camp. I said, so I started the basketball camp, the All-Star weekend, doing a celebrity basketball game and an auction and, a red carpet event to raise money. And I obviously started it for Pat's because I'm like, I don't have, I'd never been affected by that. And so, until you're affected by Alzheimer's or any disease, you don't really understand until you're affected and you realize how many people are affected. And
Sure.
so I started that. And then, I was doing it for the Alzheimer's Association. And then whenever my mom was diagnosed, God aligns everything and the timing. And I never thought I'd be back in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Yeah.
But it's hard to realize, like, and you don't understand, like, did it really that have to happen for this? But
Yeah.
I know it happened and how it happened. I moved back. I'm here in Cleveland. I've been here now 7, almost 8 years. Being able to have this, and we have a foundation for her. I mean, we are 110% dedicated to keeping her legacy alive. We have a golf tournament, but also just being here and back when I thought I would have never moved back. I mean, I was in Fort Lauderdale, I was in LA, I was in all these big cities. I'm like, I'm not going back to Cleveland. But being back here, the things and being able to make an impact in my community that I grew up in is it's my job. I feel
Sure.
like it's what people here poured into me, and so being able to do that and be here and around my family, and my kids grow up with my family. So, mom getting sick, it started that, and that's why I came back here. But we have our golf tournament. We have, anything that we do, like my celebrity weekend, is for her foundation. We now can give. We were starting with one. Now we give 2 scholarships to Barrett's
That's
to
awesome.
to go to, and I know that'd make her so happy, right? Like she loved nothing than the Barrett. I mean, she was before she got really sick. She was playing in the Senior Olympics, and we went over to Nashville, and she actually, I mean, it was neat. Like her team she couldn't really know what was going on, but when they had the shooting contest, she won it. I mean, she didn't forget that.
That's awesome.
She shot the basketball 8 days before she passed.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's incredible. That is,
Yeah.
that is
So
cool.
she would be happy, and we just we want to continue to just like kind of what I'm doing with. I feel like it is my duty to be the arms and legs of Pat Summit, right? Like her legacy will always be here, but like her voice is not. And like, so to talk about where Lady Vol basketball is now, like we're losing sight. And that's, if we don't speak up, why not? It's my job to continue my mom's legacy. And I hope that she's proud of what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And I'm sure she is. She was a great lady, and we all miss her. But
did you have her at Bradley? Where did you have her? The high school?
Yeah, to high school. Yeah, she was fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. Why she probably has no. She probably would never remember who I am, but like,
oh, she would remember you. I promise you. Even there, we would run into people, and I bet, Mom, you don't. She's like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember. Like, I remember him. I remember her.
That's the crazy thing about being a teacher is like, I've been a teacher for 3 years now after transitioning from, policing and stuff. And it's like everywhere I go, it's like, what's up, Coach Talent? What's up, Coach? And I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
But Lake Forest is a big school now. I mean,
but the cool thing is they know who you are. So you're making an impact, And
that's the thing. You really have eyes on you all the time. And that was the same for your parents. Like there are people out there who know your parents that they would have no idea that they're, you know what I mean? So it's a really cool profession, but transitioning from your mom to the old man, right? Does not stop. I'm telling you, like, last year coaching there at Bradley, I mean, he was all over the place. He is nonstop. What I'm sure, what has your dad meant to you? I mean, really, because he is an unbelievable man, an unbelievable athletic director. He takes pride in what he does there at Bradley. And I'm sure, and I've never seen, I know all the Hall of Fame stuff and all that. I'm sure he's a heck of an athlete too.
Listen, my dad, I don't even think I knew until I got older. And we're going to, the third Hall of Fame, fourth. So he just got inducted to the Bradley Hall of Fame. And I said, Aiden had a game. And I said, you're going to have to miss this game tonight. We're going. He's like, Mom, we already went to Papaw's Hall of Fame. I said, yeah, this is another one, but, my dad, I told him the other day, because we were talking about it, I was looking at pictures and I said, I wish I had film to watch, because I have heard just as, good as my mom was on the court, my dad was big time. Okay. And he would never know. There are people that know him well and don't even know, because he's not going to tell you. And, he's just so humble. And I think that's where, I'm so proud to say, how me and my sister have always been that way. I don't care where you are at and how big you are, what star, like you started somewhere. And so remember that. And that's something that I always give my dad credit for that, because he's always been so humble. And, but I'll tell you, people ask me, is your dad, when's he going to retire? I said, he's not retiring until he can't walk in that school. He loves it. I mean, he loves it. He loves Bradley High School. It means so much to him. On game days, it's funny. I'm like, Dad, what? The game is not till it is 6 o'clock in the morning. The game is not till set. So I'm like, slow down. And he loves it though. He loves it.
That's awesome. He's been a big influence on me and so many other people in this county and continues to be. And just amazed by that man and what he's able to do at this stage in his life. But we're going to transition a little bit over to Rocky Top. Okay. To me, it's, if you can count the amount of people in this world who have stepped foot on the campus at the University of Tennessee, all the young kids who dream about putting on orange and white in some aspect, right? Not just from the Vol shop. I'm talking a uniform, right? That very small percentage gets to do that. And so you had that opportunity to play for the University of Tennessee, a loved university with a passionate fan base, a passionate women's basketball program. And what did it mean to you specifically to play at the University of Tennessee?
So I was that little girl here in Cleveland, Tennessee, that grew up. I mean, Pat Summit, there was no bigger superstar. There was no bigger anybody it was just, I mean, that's what I grew up. She was just, oh my gosh, you never think I'll ever meet that woman. I'm watching her on TV. She's amazing. Um, so it was a dream come true. I mean, I would go to Lady Vol camps. I would watch them play. I watched the documentaries. Um, she's a superstar. And
Yeah.
you're like, so I'll never forget the first time. I mean, I'll never forget the first time she came to the game. It was that we played at McMinn. And I mean, nobody, refs concluded, I don't think anybody paid attention to the game because they were just so in shock. And as I was, I mean, I'm from Tennessee. I grew up watching them, and they were the
Wow.
number one program in the country. Um, and so it was a dream come true. It was, I went on visits, I went on to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. But when I started, getting recruited by Pat, I was just as starstruck and just as, I remember when she came in her and Holly came to my house and we sat down with my parents at my dinner table. I mean, listen, I'm lying if I'm telling you I'm not like I'm sitting there with, I mean, the biggest movie star you can sit, And so it was a dream come true. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that is where I wanted to go and play college basketball. And I was, forever grateful to get that opportunity.
Yeah, that's so cool. I just think about the kids, man, that have those dreams. Like when you're, at TBA or Thompson Bowling Arena and, and you're playing and you look up, did you ever just look up into the crowd and be like, there are so many like young girl athletes out here that dream of being where I'm standing right now. And, what did you ever feel like any kind of, what am I looking to say here? Did you ever feel like awestruck and starstruck, just by, were you able, I know you were there for 4 years, you did all 4 years, but at what moment was it like, this is awesome?
That was back when you did all 4 years. And now it's ever, but yes, it was whenever I graduated 17 from Bradley.
Yeah.
And we graduated, let's say May, and we had to be there at the beginning of June. And I just remember I watched the documentaries, right? And I don't know if that was if I tortured myself because I probably shouldn't have, right? You don't know, you don't watch it, you don't. And I was like, okay, can I survive this? Right. Like, I mean, I remember the drive to the dorm in June. We had to take summer school. We had to enroll in summer school before our freshman year. And I thought, I'm gonna give it a try. Am I gonna survive? What I just watched and it just, I mean, as you're going through it, and it's like anything in life. I mean, you don't realize or appreciate the things. I mean, even the things that Pat now, I mean, I have, I'm in sales, right? I'm in healthcare sales. I've got a team that I manage and it's like coaching and I'm using the definite dozen that we had to sign I mean, the things that she taught me for life, you don't really realize it and appreciate it while you're going through it, but you appreciate it later. And she would always say that. And, but I will say like she always taught us like you're wearing like what you're saying. There's girls that would die to wear a Lady Vol uniform.
Yeah.
And you get that. I mean, there's 161 players that played for Pat Summit, and I'm one of those. There's seven girls that have went to four Final Fours, and I'm one of those.
Wow.
And, she just always instilled in us like this jersey is bigger than you. She took the names off our jerseys my junior year because she's like, this is about Lady Vol. This is bigger than Brittany Jackson. This is bigger than Shira Eli. So she kept, that's what I'm talking with now, right? I'm looking at, and I know so much is different. I mean, everybody, it's not, that was 20 years ago, but it's like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like these girls, like when I watch them play, like you've got to understand that you're representing more than yourself.
Sure.
And, people would die to wear that Lady Vol jersey. And Pat she did a great job at instilling that in us and making us understand that like, this is way bigger than you.
Yeah. Wow. That's, you threw out those numbers there, that's insane, man. That is insane. 161 got to play. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, we have a thread and it's so cool because we keep, we have 161 thread and, but like I was speaking at an event in Knoxville 4 or 5 months ago, and the guy introduced or whatever, and he was like, the winningest Lady Vol. And I was like, that's the wrong person. My class, so me, Shari, Loy Moore, are the winningest Lady Vols. And we don't have a championship, but we're the winningest Lady Vols of all time.
That's
And I didn't even know it. I mean,
yeah,
it's just, it's very grateful.
yeah. That's humbling for sure. And you know what's crazy is I think a lot of us see, you know, all the games, right? We tune into ESPN. We tune in when when you're playing. I was like, I don't know, 8, 9.
I know. Were you born when I was playing?
I don't even know. But talk to me about the routine, the daily routine that you experience playing basketball there. You know, we all can probably get what the routine's like on game day. Talk to me about your routine, like daily with practice. How did Pat want you guys to maintain yourself throughout the week and the routines that you guys had to follow?
So RC, whenever I was in high school, I was, I wasn't in the partying scene. I didn't do any of that. I was very disciplined, thanks to my parents. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to college, right? Finally,
Yeah.
no parents. I'm not living under my parents. Well, it was about the same as having Pat Summit's about having 4 parents. Okay. And so, I mean, eyes everywhere. I will never forget my freshman year. I tell the story all the time. We would have practice at 1:00. So we had most of our classes we take in the morning. Every now and then you had to take a night class, but we practiced at 1:00 every day. And I had to walk to the hill. I mean, and that was, a pretty good ways. So we had to sit in the first 3 rows of every class. But this is the thing, there's no getting around it because those teachers and those, professors, they know those rules that Pat Summit has. So they're telling her, so I go and I was 9:03. Okay. Like, let's say the class at 9 is 9:03, whatever. Still I go, I sit in the front 3 rows. By practice, I had a note in my locker, come up to Pat's office. And I'm like, okay. She already knew that I was 3 minutes late. Okay. I was like, okay. So that got my attention real quick. I mean, we had curfew, we had curfew every night. There were nights I remember, too, my freshman year coming in and, we were off. Like she might give us off. If we had the next day off, she'd say, okay, no curfew tonight, but it was very rare. And we went out that night, everybody, and somebody called her and told her we were out, which they didn't know we didn't have curfew, but that's how well she was respected. And as a 17, 18-year-old, you're like, what? You don't realize that the spotlight like that is on you like that, And so those are the things that I think why and how I appreciate now that I'm able to use with my kids, with my family, in my life, with work in the business world, that, sitting in the first 3 rows, it just 100% graduation rate. Nobody didn't graduate.
Was that a rule?
And because you did first 3 rows, you had to be in the first 3 rows. But you knew there was 100% graduation rate. So we took summer school every summer. Like I said, I even went to summer school before my freshman year because you don't want to be that 1%. So you're going to graduate,
Right.
But they give you the tools. But I mean, she gave us the tools, obviously, to do that. But, stuff like that, I didn't realize that at 18, 19, 20 years old, what that was going to do for me later on in life.
Yeah. Did you talked about curfew. Did they have people come and check?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's what these kids today. I mean, it's funny. And I'm like I even think, I don't remember what staff it was talking about, and it was a lady vol. And I won't mention names or anything, but they let her go off of staff, and she was trying to, she was doing curfew, and it just, I guess it doesn't go with this generation, right? But I mean, that's what we know. I mean, that type of discipline was what we know. So when I watch these games, when I go to these practices, when I see, I mean, it's hard because you feel like you're being so negative because it's a different day and time, but it's why she was so successful.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I think that a lot of these athletes these days, it's hard to teach discipline without people taking it personal, and or young athletes taking it personal. And I'm not real sure where that stems from. I really don't. So that's an interesting, topic, and I could talk all day about that. But so let me ask you about your Final Four experience. That's an opportunity, and that's a dream that so many people wish they could live through. Right? We all do our March Madness brackets. We all see it on TV. The whole country, the whole world watches March Madness just to get to the Final Four. You experienced it 4 years in a row and got to experience 2 national championships. Man, what was that like?
And I'll tell you, and still felt like a failure, because guess what? If you didn't come home with that championship, we didn't finish. When I say failure, it was, it was a bad season, because the expectation was championships.
Yep.
And that is why she was so successful. I mean, and so it's funny. I think of 4 Final Fours went. I mean, amazing experiences. But once you get there, and at that time, I mean, it was Lady Vol culture. It was expected, right? Like, I mean, I started the Final Four my freshman year, and I've gotten asked, oh my gosh, what was that? And it's like, that's just what you're coming into, right? Like, that's what you expect. Like, I want to be at that Final Four. I want to be in that starting lineup. I want to, win a national championship. And that's what scares like me, is like we're losing sight of that.
Yeah.
Even that, and that's why it's what inspires me to speak up to because it's not the kids' fault. Those kids that are here, they were not born when Pat Summitt was there. Yeah. So like, how do they know? Right. So it's like, I feel like it's our duty. It's our job to educate on what it means to be a Lady Vol, because it's not Sweet 16. Like it's Final Four winning and championships.
Yeah. And it's crazy that you talk about that, a lot of these kids not even being born yet. But when she passed, like, it is up to you guys to carry on that culture, that winning mentality that, they've had some success, but the standard of success for Lady Vol's program is Final Fours and national championships. We haven't had that for a long time, and it's just, I just wonder, like, with that 161, that thread that you're on, you guys talk about that a lot. Like, this culture is just different. Like, it's not the same.
We do. And I think, I'm a very transparent person, and, to come out and release this Substack, it took a lot of courage, because, I'm very involved. Like, especially once I've moved back to Tennessee, I go to games. I mean, I was at the game last week or week before, and, it's nothing against, I don't, Coach Caldwell or any of the players is not, but it's just, we've got to educate and tell and tell them, give them stories. I mean, there was a girl, I talked to one of the girls after the game, and she was like, I want to hear Pat's story, because they weren't even alive. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's been 20, I graduated 20 years ago. And so it is, it's just, I feel like our duty to do that and to educate them on that. And it's hard. I mean, when you see, like, the first thing, I mean, and my husband laughs at me, but when I watch a game, I can't get past the jerseys aren't tucked in. Sure. Like, she'd say, tuck them jerseys in and look like somebody, and so, it's, that is what has inspired me too, because I knew it will ruffle some feathers, right? So you're never going to be able to make everybody, but I feel like I've been so happy with the feedback that I've got. It's almost like, everybody's waiting for somebody to say, they're like, that's what I've been saying in my living room. And that's the response. I mean, fans that have been there for 50 years. I mean, like, hey, I had this lady, Rachel, I've had tickets for 50 years, and I'm thinking about giving them up. This inspired me, like, thank you. But, we've got to it's not wins and losses. And listen, Pat Summitt's never going to be on the sideline. Brittany Jackson's never going to be in a jersey again. But I mean, the way they're handing out eligibility, I might call and ask. but
No, it's
but
great.
it's the cultural, right? Like the attitude, the body language, those are the things that we are speaking up and have to speak up about. I was listening to Candace Parker on a podcast, and it really just, I was already thinking about this, and I heard her say something, and she wasn't even actually talking about Tennessee, but she was like, these kids don't know the history.
Yeah.
We have kids going to universities, committing to play places, and they don't even know the history,
Right.
of it. And so how do they know? We got to educate them, because this is, Lady Vol, the definite dozen, we had to sign it every year. It should be plastered on the walls of our locker room.
Yeah.
Like that's not a Pat Summitt. That's a Lady Vol tradition. That is Lady Vol culture.
Sure. It's
And
well,
so
General Nealon's game maxims, right? So
Yeah.
you talk, that's really neat. Sorry, got to plug in my computer here, but you said something, well, you didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Do you think that this NIL culture is part of the problem? And I'm not saying
all the problem.
Yeah, well, I think I do. I think athletes deserve, some money. Yeah, that's just kind of what, they put in hard work. I could go all day about that, but I feel like it is we always talk about, college, like athletics being a business, and now it's really a business. And when you make business decisions, sometimes the whole culture piece just is set to the side. Right. And I just feel like, that's the problem now in collegiate athletics is this money. Money is ruining the tradition, the culture, and the history of these programs, where it fires up like people like Brittany Jackson Tucker. It fires up people like Candace Parker. When you talk about, hey, tuck your shirt in, right? The small details matter. The culture that Pat Summitt set, those are it's just gone.
They don't care, because next year they're going to be in another culture. Next year, and it's, I said the other day, I said, and I think I heard Nick Saban like talking about it, and when I said, 4 years with Pat Summitt, you don't hear that anymore. You were at a school for 4 years. Well, where are these kids going to bring their kids back? Which alumni do they go to? You know what I mean? Like, because but I remember when it was starting to have some talk, some people reaching out to me like, what, they're going to start getting paid. And I will say, I'm probably the unpopular opinion. And I played the highest level. Listen, if I could go back, I'm still on at Texas Roadhouse up in Knoxville. I've tried to say, hey, I wonder if I could get some NIL money, but it's awful. I hate it. I said it before it came. I said, when you put money in something, I'm in business. When you put money in something, now it's a business.
Yeah.
And when it's a business, it changes the ball game. And, they're like, Brittany, what do you mean? Do you know the money you could have made? Guess what? I traveled all around the world. I got my school paid for. I was very well taken care of. And then I went and got paid to play basketball.
Yeah.
But college athletics, they're ruining it. There's no loyalty. That's what people loved watching college basketball, because, the pros are the pros. It's a business,
Sure.
But now college is a business, and heck, it's going to be high school soon.
Well, you're exactly right. And, it's just crazy to see, because there was a lot of love and a lot of passion for college athletics because the business side was not brought into it. That's what brought all these people to love college athletics more than the National Football League or more than the NBA or the WNBA. It's because these kids wanted to be there because they love the university. They love their coach. They love their teammates, and and it's just insane. And, you look at, again, I'm a football guy, but you look at the University of Tennessee football roster defensively, it looks completely different now, completely different than it did at the end of the season, and it's like really the only people that are left that are passionate about the program are the fans and the people in the past who have went through that without, getting a dime of money. and playing at the University of Tennessee just because of the Power T,
Yep.
right? And it really is. It just blows my mind. Blows my
You
mind.
know, I was in an interview not too long ago, and they said, Brittany, what would you give the 17, 18-year-old coming out of high school? What advice would you give them in recruiting? And I said, it's crazy because initially my gut instinct and my instinct would be, listen, you look like I went to Tennessee because of the culture. I knew the next 4 years I get to play with Kara Lawson 2 more years. I get to play with Candace Parker. I get to play with Michelle Snow. These coaches they are going to make me a better person on and off the court. But now, I mean, I can tell you that, but you don't know who's going to be. Eight of them might go to the portal next year. You don't know what the team's going to look like next year. You don't know if that coach is going to be there. You don't know. I know I'm going in. I mean, I went in with 5, left with 3, and it's not like that anymore. You don't know what that team can change. I mean, you change year to year because people are entering the portal, moving and going. And so I said, the only, I guess what I would tell them is, one, don't chase the money. Because if you chase the money, you're going to be in trouble.
Sure.
And 2, look at the history. Look at the history of the program, because that's what they represent and what it should continue to, but it's hard, right? What do you tell them? Because you don't look at a program anymore and know what it looks like those next 3 or 4 years for your kid.
Sure.
So, it's tough.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cause it's just like you guys were paid with values and discipline. Those are things that you got from that program that you're able to carry on the rest of your life. Where these young kids,
I'm sorry.
That these young kids now, they're not even around long enough to even be involved in the culture of a program, and they don't get those things.
Yep. And they shouldn't. The kids, like I say, I go back to not at 17 or 18, I couldn't have given you the advice I'm giving you now.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm getting paid, I mean, of course you want the money. But when I say it all the time, because people are like, I can't believe you are, against it, and you were there and you're at the top and you could have, there's billboards, you could have had this. And I said, just what you said. What I gained from my 4 years at Tennessee, there ain't no amount of NIL money that any of these top athletes, top 5-star, 6-star, whatever you say, can get from what I got. Yeah. And it's just, it's sad. I hate it. I hate it for the kids. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not going to go backwards, right? I mean, it's just going to continue to get worse. And then, going, I can't imagine when my kids get into high school, who knows what it, but I can still instill in my kid. That's all I can do is just give my kids, guide them in the way that I was guided. I mean, I had 2 parents that, and great coaches, and that's all I can do. So,
yeah, well, and that's appreciative, from a parent, right? And I've got 3 boys of my own, and hope to do the same thing with them. I never experienced
cutest little boys ever.
they're madmen, but they're the loves of my life, along with my wife. But back to Pat Summitt, and we'll kind of wrap up this Tennessee thing. What's, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot, and I know there's people around here at home that want to know, because they love and admire her too. What lesson from Coach Pat that still sticks with you to this day?
Gosh, there's
probably so many.
there's so many. But I'm going to tell you one of the biggest things that I've there's so many. I mean, there's a list, and not one goes really above another. But Pat Summitt taught me that to treat everybody, the janitor from the head coach to the president, the same. I never saw Pat Summitt. I'm talking about when we got beat, and we didn't get beat much, but she would sign autographs on the way to that bus. And it's Pat Summitt. Okay. Yeah. And so just how humble she was, And the way she treated people, she said, you win in life with people.
Sure.
And it's true. And it's true. And I've learned that throughout, I'm 42 years old. I didn't learn it, when I was 19 or 20, but as I've gotten older, you appreciate that. And that is one thing that, and again, I credit my parents have done, but Pat, she never told a little girl no because she was mad because we lost. She would talk to the janitors. She would talk. I mean, it doesn't matter who it was. She treated everybody the same.
Yeah. And that's an important value that I wish we all would have. I really do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we all bleed red. Right. And
Right.
that's like something that she knew. And
Yep.
that's incredible. Let's transition to current life here, and I won't keep too much more of your time, but so what is Brittany Jackson up to now? I know your kiddos, man, like how are they doing? I mean, I know a lot of them's in Bradley Youth and they enjoy playing sports and all that. How joyful has that been for you watching the kiddos, play ball and all that stuff? And man, I'm sure it's been incredible.
Well, listen, having to live with a Raider, first off, is hard enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So, finally getting to see my kid, Aiden, I got a 10 and a 2. So the 2, is not there yet, but getting to see him in black and gold just makes my heart happy. Okay. Yeah. It is, and he's made, such an impact on Aiden's life. I mean, whenever he first came into his life and he started wearing blue, Aiden came in with that Cleveland shirt. I was like, listen, buddy, okay, we can say go Reggie, but like we're not wearing, and then it came into like, we're not wearing Bradley. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have problems. So just the fact that he's now smartened up a little bit and he's wearing black and gold, I'm excited. But again, it goes back to just my roots and being here. And I'm so grateful to be back in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then watching my kids and my dad and my family getting to watch my kids play and represent Bradley. I mean, it's just it is so, it makes me happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's good ball player, great ball player. Watched several of the games.
You need time to listen to his mom because he thinks his mom knows nothing. So I mean, and in football, I don't go there. I'll let Coach Bartow deal with that. But
Sure.
Basketball, I'm telling you, he thinks now he'll listen to other people, but he thinks his mom did nothing. And so maybe one day he'll realize I'm going to outshoot him for the rest of his life. So
That's awesome. Real quick, I wanted to hit on something real quick that you said in a previous podcast. I think it was the one actually a few days ago with the Vol guys. And you were talking about kind of mental health, right? And what athletes go through after their playing days are over. That really hit with me. Because I do feel like that when you're a part of something for so long, right, for you being basketball your whole life, right, until you're an adult, an older adult, and it just ends, right? That has been your identity for so long, your whole life, and having to deal with that after it's over, it's like you question who you are. Like, who am I? Like, what am I? What is my identity now? I just want to say I really appreciate you talking about that because that's real. You see it with all these collegiate athletes, professional athletes, even in high school. Like when you play your whole life something, and then all of a sudden you graduated and you're done, and it's like, well, what do I do now? Like I've got to find an identity in something.
Absolutely. That is one of a really big reason why I wanted to start a podcast and to use my platform for that.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like there's not a lot of people talking about it. People don't want to talk about it, but it's such a big topic and it's so real. And it's, I still struggle with, you miss, like, I went through a big period of time of I never watched women basketball, and I can now, with lots of therapy, and see that it was because I missed it. I wouldn't turn on basketball. I wouldn't watch WNBA. I wouldn't watch, and I think it's because, you go through this identity crisis of this has been such a part of me forever. Like, who am I? Like,
Yeah.
who am I now? Like,
What
and
is right?
it's hard. And I think it doesn't matter at what level, if it's high school, if it's college, or if it's, you had a 15-year professional career. It's when you stop playing and you no longer have that, it is tough. It's something that I really want to talk a lot about on my podcast.
Yeah, that's incredible. And that's really cool that you want to do that because that's a big thing. And I don't think it's addressed enough right now. And you see it again with all these different athletes and it's really, I would say a crisis because they need help finding who they are as a person and what their purpose is in life and, what else they could put their identity in. And, I think that for me, that was coaching. Right. For so long, I did all these different jobs. I mean, of course, I was in the military for 6 years. That was that brotherhood, right? That you gain from being a part of sports, but you get it in a different way. So I felt safe there. Right. It was the same thing that I experienced. And then whenever that was over, it's like, well, now what? I don't have that. So, coaching has really been, an outlet to really be in that brotherhood and be in that, that purpose and changing lives of other people. So it's really cool that you're doing that. And I'm glad to help you in any way I can. But my last question.
And it's just going to get worse. I mean, you think about it, like now these athletes that are driving Lambos and making hundreds of thousands of dollars, the percentage of them that are going to go on and play in the professional football league so think about that. Now you're experiencing that at the college level, and then it's going to get into I mean, the mental health. I've seen so many through my, NFL guys, WNBA, Major League Baseball, of the mental part of. I mean, these guys they don't have that guy, right? Everybody's not blessed like I to have a great family around you, and like the mental health part of, the money, getting stolen from them, taken from them, from these, everybody wants from them. And it's, you're not going to have that money forever, and you're not going to play that sport forever. It's going to end somewhere. And so it's just going to get worse.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I mean, it's just something that's got to be addressed. And maybe with you starting this podcast is even if you change one person's life, and just spitting some facts out there, or something, or saying something that somebody needs to hear is all worth it. Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But, I've got one last question for you. I've got a niece, okay, who's been at your camps every year. Right. And I remember when she was just little showing up there and my sister sending me pictures and all that. And she's an absolute baller. I mean, she drains threes. She's shooting 23% right now.
How old is she?
She's in 8th grade.
Okay.
She's Lake Forest Middle School. Her name is Kylie Morgan.
Okay.
And she would probably kill me that I'm even saying this, but what advice would you give a young Bradley County, female athlete like Kylie? And I'll say this: the other night they were playing Cleveland in the middle school. They lost by a couple points, and she is so tore up. I mean, she just feels like she let everybody down. That she was afraid Coach Reuter was there to watch. And all this, and she really. I think that pressure starts at a younger age now than it did before, especially with, how successful Bradley's been, in their girls program forever. Right. And she was just, I remember I tried to go near the locker room and console her and talk to her, but she feels a ton amount of pressure and she's a great ball player. And I hate that she has to feel this way. And I know it's probably a little bit because she's a competitor. Right. And competitors like to compete and hate to lose. But what's some advice that Brittany Jackson Tucker could give her to kind of help guide her to where she wants to be? And that's her goal and her dream is to do what you did at the University of Tennessee. But, she likes UConn. But
hey, listen, I would too if I was her. I mean, that's what people always say, and I'm like, listen, Gino's a great coach and he's, he gets it done. I mean, I'm not a Gino hater, but first off, I would tell her, I love that she don't like losing. Yeah. I love that that means she's a competitor. And if you can't give somebody that, right? Like you said, she walked out of the locker room and she's upset. That, like, I saw Aiden be upset after a loss the first time this year, and it made me happy. That sounds crazy, but
Yeah,
I was
no,
like, it means something to him. So if she's got that, she can go wherever she wants. She can
yeah,
go to UConn. She can go to Tennessee. Listen, Shamiqua Holtzclaw, one of the best to ever do it, did not start playing basketball till ninth grade.
wow,
Okay. So she's not anywhere near run out of time. She's way ahead of that. Think about that. I mean,
sure.
this girl is one of the best, if not the best, to ever play basketball. And she started in ninth grade.
Wow,
So just what you've told me about her, I mean, she's got the competitiveness. She's hard, she's being hard on herself. You know what? That that's good. That means she wants to achieve, she wants to get better. Be coachable,
yep,
right? If you're coachable, if you're competitive, if you've got the drive like she does, all the other stuff, I can teach you to move. I can teach you, I can teach you all that.
sure,
You can go anywhere,
yep,
but it's being coachable, and it's being competitive. That's a lot of that now. I see. I mean, I go and I'd watch, with Reggie coaching at high school, and I'm like, y'all just got your butt whipped
yeah,
and you're laughing coming out of the locker room. Ugh. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
like, that's good. That's good that and I know it hurts your heart. It hurt my heart when Aiden was crying, but I'm like, that is good she's a competitor.
sure.
So tell
That's
her I want to see her in orange, not UConn, but hey,
on
um,
the cinder.
hey, I'm rooting for her.
Yeah, and that's one thing we talked about was being coachable in our body language, right? And I think as a young eighth grade girl, right, the emotions are kind of all over the place, right? You're growing into your body, you're trying to figure everything out, but understanding that our teammates feed off of our body language, whether that be during game, like if you don't agree with your coach, or if you don't do this, don't roll your eyes, don't go palms up, right? Don't do things like that, because the other seventh graders, the other girls that are on your team, they feed off of that. And they, especially if you're, a pretty good player, they're gonna want to follow those footsteps. Like they're gonna, hey, I want to be like you, right? So let me have a bad attitude, right? But then, like what you said, you saw girls coming off the court laughing and carrying on. Well, that's also a body language issue, right? That you do not want to do. I mean, because it just doesn't mean nothing to you, right?
Absolutely.
If
I
you
think body language is one. I love that you talk about it, because when I tell you, I mean, just the other night, I said, let me tell you something. If your body language does not change tonight, you won't be back. Like,
right,
I'm not watching it. And I don't think that, like, it was instilled in me. Like, we couldn't put our hands on our knees. Body language was everything from, my 9 and 10-year-old AAU team to my high school coach. So I was blessed. I know that some of these kids are not having coaches that are holding them accountable for that.
sure,
But body language is the biggest thing that drives me crazy. And these kids, and it's not their fault. Like, that's the coach. Like, when I watch Tennessee and I see the body language, that falls on the coach.
sure,
Like, like, body language is everything. And I guess sometimes I think, like, am I overboard with it? Because I was so, like, it was just so instilled in me, but it's not. It's like when college coaches come to watch you play, they're looking at body language.
absolutely.
So,
That's do you ever, I lost my train of thought here, but like, do you ever go to man, I forgot what I was gonna say. That
hey, it happens to me all the time. So I'm glad somebody.
I don't remember what I was gonna say, but we were talking about body language. Let me get back train of thought here.
I know, you'll think of it.
I don't even remember, but no, I think it's important, right, to be coachable, like you said. Know your body. Like, people feed off of that. Give good energy, bad energy. Everybody feeds off of that. And
The next play. You can turn it over, like, that next play, every possession. And that's something that I try to teach my 10-year-old. Like, you think, okay, we're beating everybody by 30. Those 4 or 5 turnovers. No, in big game, like the Lady Vols, first 2 games of SEC play, we won.
Yeah.
We had 42 turnovers. Guess what? You're not going to win against
Right.
good SEC teams. And so focusing on what you can control, and you can control your body language, your energy, and your attitude.
That's
It's your effort and your attitude. It's just,
you hit it.
it's simple.
Control what you can control the controllables. And, every aspect of the game, like there's going to be fouls in the game. There's going to be, things that don't go your way, but you can control your effort. You control your attitude, your body language, and all those things. And like referring back to the coaches, when we talk, you either coach it or you allow it to happen.
Mhm.
Right. And, that's just the way it is. But last question, do you ever feel like you could get into coaching at all?
So I think about it all the time, RC. I have my academy, and I started that because I love working with kids. And so, I work with all age groups, all boys and girls, different talent levels. And I think, like you said, sometimes like those outlets, like that was an outlet for me. Like, okay, I'm still on the court. It's still not, I don't got that, locker room, and I don't got that, competitive. But it filled a void a little bit because I love being on the court and pouring into the kids, because there were people that poured into me. But I never wanted to coach high school, really, because I'm not a teacher.
Sure.
And kids are expensive. So, I don't have a teaching degree. I've never thought I really wanted to teach. So I have thought about college. I turned down an assistant job at UT when I first, Aiden was really young. I just, was doing the TV, a lot of TV stuff, and I had to kind of pick. So I was praying about it, and I just felt like the timing wasn't right. I still think about it, even though I'm older and dirt.
Yeah,
I think about, I know I would enjoy it. Obviously with a family, a lot of my former players that I'm close with, I have one that's like, Brittany, I don't have a family. And it's because of, the demand in college. She's coached college, for a long time. And so but it would have to be the right fit. And there is that, right? It works to where you can have a family. And like, I have one of my teammates, coaches in Memphis, her family travels everywhere with her. I do think about it because and I've thought a lot more about it here the last couple years because of just, I don't know, just my passion. I miss it. I miss being on the court. I'm watching, and I know that I think I would be good at it, and I think I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I do think about it. I just am waiting for God to push me that way or not.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the best things about being a coach, and you can attest to this, if you can change one person's life just by coaching them the right way, it's worth it. That's worth it to me, and that passion for basketball is never going to go away. Never going to go away. It'll always be there, and we only live this life one time. One time is all we get. And that was my thought process. Am I going to do it like doing what I don't enjoy, or am I going to do it doing what I love to do, where I don't, I go to work at all? I do not feel that way. I feel like I don't work at all, So, no, that's really neat. I do. I hope you get into it, and it's very, it is so fun and time consuming. Yes. And it's hard with the family, but,
No, I know you're a tremendous coach just from this conversation. I've really enjoyed it. I don't even feel like it's interview. I don't feel like anything. I've enjoyed the conversation. And, it's like with my husband, even there were times that, when I first got, when we were together and I'm like, the time that he puts into high school, and I'm like, honey, the time that you're putting in, you need to be coaching college, the money and this and that. It wasn't about that.
Yeah.
He loves what he does, and he loves making an impact in these kids' lives.
Right.
It means so much to him. And so I can tell that you are the same way. And it's, that I just talked about coaches that I was blessed to have, because they helped me in my journey to get where I was at. And that's what people are going to be able to say about you, and people are going to be able to say about Reggie one day, of like, that coach that coached me at Lake Forest or at Bradley High School or at Cleveland High School. Sometimes kids just need one coach to believe in them, and it changes their life.
Changes their life. And that's all worth it. That's worth not having the money to teach, right? Not having a big salary. It's worth, the time, because that's my purpose, right?
Yeah.
The coach's purpose. I'm going to help change your life. I'm going to coach you to be the best person you can be. And, maybe you might not see the fruits of your labor till later on in life when they're older.
Right.
But, as long as you change one person's life, that's all that matters. So, but
that's awesome. And I love what you're doing. Like, this is awesome. I mean, hey, it is, and it's not just about, it's what you're doing for the community, I think is great.
Yeah.
It is great. And so, hey, that's why I said, I don't know what platforms you have it on. I'm sharing it out. I will help. I'll get you any guests you want, because, we have a lot of great athletes that have came through, a lot of great people that have came through this community.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I just I want to highlight everybody, because we all have stories, and we all have. It all started somewhere, and for us, it started here. And this is a place where there are so many people where it all started in Bradley County. 15,000 of them are going through it right now. That's how many athletes we got here in the county. And so, I'm going to keep doing it. I enjoy it, and hopefully it continues to grow. And we've had sponsors. I had somebody reach out to me today, and just hope it continues to grow. But and I'll never make money from this. I won't ever take a dime from it. I really won't, because it's more than that. So, but Brittany, I am so thankful that you joined us today to share your story, to share your family story with your mom, your dad, and your sister, and what it was like growing up in Bradley County and playing for the Bradley Barretts and Pat Summit. And I know so many people are going to watch this, and you got a lot of eyes on you, a lot of young girls, and that they're watching. You're the pinnacle of what these young girls want to do, and you're doing a great job. I just want to say that, and keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it, and good luck. And I'm gonna have you on my podcast.
Hey, let's do it.
Thank you, RC. Have a great night.
You too. We'll see you later.
Bye.
All right, guys. We appreciate you listening. That was a great conversation with Brittany Jackson Tucker. She's phenomenal. We also want to give a shout out to our sponsors, GP Athletes. It's the original gym here in Bradley County that trains our young athletes from youth all the way to adult. If you are looking to get into a program for your young athlete and want them to grow and work on different types of body movements and even lift weights if they're able to, GP Athletes is the perfect place for it. They're located on South Lee Highway. Give Anthony and those guys a call. They're phenomenal. Also, Southside Fitness. Anthony owns Southside Fitness as well. It's the #1 gym in Bradley County. They got all kinds of gym equipment. They've got everything you could ask for in a gym and more. It's Southside Fitness, and it definitely feels like a family there. Highly recommend it. And also ESPN Cleveland 101.3. For all your local sports, all your national news, everything from the drive all the way to listening to college football at night. They cover everything. So if you're looking for a station local for local sports and national sports, tune in to ESPN Cleveland 101.3. And I'm your host, RC Talent. And I appreciate you guys for listening to this episode of Coach 'em Up.
Go hard, go home. Touchdown like a end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard.